They're all dead. Don't have to wait this time, 'cause I'm giving up on my sense of
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Horrors of Hibiki, a brand new podcast, a brand new genre, same old pals. Welcome back right here at Hibiki TMD on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in and checking out this little brainchild of myself and my good, dear, sweet pal right here himself, Kite Man, Lawman's TJ, whatever you guys know him as. You can know him as all three, because I do. I just kind of mix all the personalities up in one thing. My co-host for this, the Horrors of Hibiki, talking about you and I's mutual love of horror movies for the most part. There's certain I hate lost footage survival horror movies. I'm not a big fan of those, but we'll get to that, I'm sure, in a later episode. Before we do, what's going on, man? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. It's been like a year. How you been? And I know it's your favorite part every time. Where can everyone catch you?
Well, first of all, I like the lost horror. The lost picture horror movie type stuff, but you can catch me on Twitter, other places. I don't know, shit.
I guess it depends what the movie is. Like, what's that movie Host? Like, that was fucking dumb. But the other one where it had a sequel, where what the fuck is the name of that movie? The second one, it was like the girl, like the guy was like terminally sick in the first one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Anyway, doesn't matter. We'll figure it out, but by the time we get to the lost footage episode, and look at that, we already disagree, so that's going to make for a good debate, because if we agreed on everything all the time, it would be fucking boring, like we all like to say. As always, though, follow me on Twitter, at Huss Hogan, your official Hibiki TMD merch, unionsmack.bigcartel.com, and now Union Smack podcast available on all streaming services, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Podbean, you name it, we're on it. No reason not to check out myself, my co-host, Maniac Matt Tennant, and last but not least, thank you to my main man, Rocky Baya, for featuring our brand new Union Smack shirt on his Pro Wrestling Tees store. Go check it out today and pick up his other merch, prowrestlingtees.com/Rocky Baya.
Rocky's got a PWT shop?
Oh, absolutely.
I did not know that.
See, already educating people. 2 minutes into this new show. That's what we do. Dracula, 1931, the one that started it all. We're going all the way back. Now, we're thinking about launching this. We talked in DMs, like, do we start with the slashers? What do we jump in? And I guess it's lame, but if we're going to do this, I want to do this properly. We're going to go where it all started. For good or bad, horror movies today compared to this, it's apples and oranges is an understatement, TJ. I think.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's, my God, I can't, I fell asleep during this movie, to be perfectly honest.
And, I mean, to be fair, that's fair. That is damn fair. And I think what sets this kind of style of a horror movie apart from today, you couldn't do a lot at all back then as far as everyone being uptight in America. This was all about atmosphere and set pieces. I think we're going to start with the positives. I think the two biggest positives from Dracula 1931 were the set pieces and the atmosphere. I think those are the things that made it scary for people back then. Because this isn't gore. There's no gore. None.
And I'm not a gore hound at all. But no, I agree. It's all set pieces and atmosphere. And I think it's something unlike anybody had ever seen before back in the 30s.
Absolutely.
So I can see how it was scary for them.
Absolutely. And I think that's another thing. And I do this all the time in the reset button when Tannen and I cheap plug. We talk about like really old like Nintendo games. We kind of got to give some things a pass for like just, like you can't compare fucking Elden Ring to like Turtles 1 on the Game Boy. You just can't do that, right? So we can't compare like more amazing modern horror movies like a Hellraiser and shit to this. So I think.
Well, you can
Go ahead.
compare those two games together because they're both impossibly hard.
That's true. I think the closest modern, and I say modern, that's being generous, horror movie that the atmosphere, like Alien, the first Alien, where that was, there was a lot of violence and a lot of gore, but the first Alien movie is all about atmosphere and pacing, and you know what I mean? That's what made Alien 1 so different from Aliens. And I love both those movies.
Oh, agree. I mean, you rarely ever saw the Alien, and if you want to get with that type of thinking too, is the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy is like in like 15 minutes of the whole movie. It's all atmosphere and pacing and thinking of what is going to happen. But
yeah,
but I digress.
I agree, and I think that's a big reason why they got a little cheesier every Freddy after that, because Freddy became overexposed, right? So because you kept seeing more and more, and I know you like that movie, right? But by the time we got to Freddy's Dead, he was the fucking Wicked Witch, like the first 5 minutes of the movie, right? And it's ridiculous. But yeah, let's talk about the man himself. And I know there's two versions of this movie, and I know everyone just sweating and spurging, ready to type angry comments down below. I'm going to address the Spanish version, but before we do, the man himself, TJ, a lot of people, he's a mixed bag for people. Bela Lugosi, the legend, Jesus Christ, what, just a perfect look, I guess, just like him and Boris Karloff just had that look to him where not a lot of makeup was really needed ever, because they're just naturally creepy fucking guys.
Yeah.
You know, who did you prefer, Karloff or Lugosi? That was a good grunt.
I guess since we're talking about the original Dracula, I'm gonna say Lugosi.
I think Karloff got lucked out on some better parts and was more well-rounded, but I think is just for character actor and totally like committing to a part. I agree. You got to go Lugosi, especially if you've watched Ed Wood. Well, I love that fucking movie. Maybe we'll review Ed Wood one day. It's kind of like an offshoot episode. Because
that'd be good. I hadn't watched that movie in like 20 years. I'd like to watch it.
It still holds up. It's fantastic. But yeah, I think this movie totally relies on the literal fucking back of Bela Lugosi. But Renfield is just as good in this, in my opinion. What did you think? Renfield was cheesy in the way he was portrayed, or not?
I honestly don't remember. I really don't. I mean, I had such a hard time watching this movie. I kept falling asleep, and I kept trying to watch it, and I was like, power through, watch it. But I don't remember a lot of it. The most of the stuff that I remember from Dracula is I read the book, the original book, and I loved the book.
Right.
And how well this movie portrayed to the book, not so well from what I can remember. The Francis Ford Coppola movie did it a lot better, but man, I had a tough time watching this, man. I really did.
There's a lot of liberties in the Coppola one, like the beginning where it shows like Gary Oldman like in war and stuff. That was all just Coppola, just like jerking off and just, I guess, wanting to make it his vision and more epic and a coming of age type deal. Man, we'll get to that someday too, because I'm not a huge fan of that movie, and I feel that's a movie like the more I watch it, the more I hate it. Like I used to really like it when I was younger, but yeah.
See, I'm the opposite. The more I watch that movie, the more I like it.
We have everything like just car buckled around. Like that's how I am with this Dracula. It like we got everything for it. It's great. Let's address real quick the biggest cult thing about this movie. Back then, especially, and this is unprecedented, and you'll never see this again, but when a movie had a Spanish version, instead of just like throwing it subtitles and get some actors in a studio, they filmed an entire different movie with different actors reciting the exact same lyrics on the literal same set that this was used. Same set pieces. I'm completely 100% serious. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a challenge to you. The Spanish version is far superior to the Lugosi version, in my opinion. Just the way certain like the first time Harker meets Lugosi when he goes to the castle, and you see Lugosi for the first time come down those steps, and it's a boring fucking shot. Let's be honest. You were asleep by now, apparently. But in the American version, it's like this lazy fucking Bush League shot that I feel like anyone could film now on their phone on TikTok and get 3 million views. In the Spanish version, it was like this point of view shot. Like you saw it from, it kind of reminds me of like early Sam Raimi shit in Evil Dead, like that point of view, but not nearly as fast moving. But it goes up to the actor, the other guy I got to mention, the actor who played Dracula in this movie, creepier looking than Lugosi. Fantastic. I recommend that one to you especially, but to anyone I recommend that one. The most redeeming part about the American one is Bela Lugosi. And that's it.
That's I didn't even know there was a Spanish version that was. I had no idea.
Yep. Same exact year. It's hilarious. Think if Hollywood did that now with like the Avengers Endgame, right? And now everything is so regioned. You'd have to do Spanish, a German, a Japanese. Oh my God! I actually kind of want that to happen now. I want Avengers Endgame with all these German people just being ridiculous and zany, with the exact same lines. Like
it'd probably be better than what we got.
It would have to be. Jesus Christ. Thanos is like this flamboyant German guy. Like Dieter from Sprockets. Like every time he snaps his, he's just like, just get Mike Myers to voice him as Dieter from Sprockets. That'd be fucking amazing. We
get a Sacha Baron Cohen to do it.
Oh my God. I'm just thinking like so many movies that would be hilarious. Like Lethal Weapon with like 2 Spanish guys, and one wears the Riggs wig. Simon is real hair. Spice World, German version, all German gals. I jumped the shark.
That would be good.
Spice up the life.
Spice up the life. That'd be good. I'd watch that definitely.
The other infamous thing about this movie, and this isn't anything controversial, guys. Like I'm trying to stretch us 30 minutes in this episode. Trust me. I don't think we're gonna do it, Teach. I don't think I'm gonna pull it off.
I don't know either.
The other most infamous thing about this, I didn't actually know until shout out, like they need a cheap plug, but Cinemassacre, James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd, I actually watched one of their videos. There's this piece of cardboard on the lamp. Every seat beside Nina's bed. Almost every scene in Nina's bedroom after she's bitten and, the nurse is sitting beside her and she's recovering. There's this piece of fucking cardboard covering up half of the lamp. And one of the shots, it was literally in front of Bela Lugosi. So you got this big, but the way the shadow is, and especially because it's a black and white movie, TJ, you don't notice it. It's like one of those magic eye things. So it's unbelievable that nobody on the production team caught this. Because it's in at least 4 to 5 shots. And it's not just like an Easter egg like the guy in Teen Wolf, at the very end with his dick out, right? That big cult thing in the bleachers. It's not.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and watch that just to try to see it.
There's a lot of deniers about that, but this is sad. I've taken the time in the past to specifically squint as hard as I can. There's a guy with his penis out in the end of Teen Wolf.
You went frame by frame on Teen Wolf to see a dude's penis?
I mean, I do it for the people. I do it for you guys. I do it for the listeners. Because 10 to 15 years ago when I first found that out, I was like, you know what? In 15 years from now, I'm going to have this horror podcast with this guy. And I'm going to need to know this for my listeners. It's a lot of forethought right there. But no, the cardboard. This fucking piece of cardboard. It's ridiculous that nobody caught it. Now, there's been the defenders of this whole thing. Like, and these people have really dug deep. Well, it's this old thing back then where if a patient's sick in the nurse's bedside, people would put light up because that way the patient could rest easier and the nurse could read a book bedside by her. And that seems logical, right? But like James Rolfe in his video said he did research to see if there's no evidence that was ever a thing. So people are really stretching to defend the director of that movie. That's, in my opinion, it's one of the biggest glaring set piece fuck ups in the history of movies. It's up there with Billy Zane in the modern pistol in Titanic, a pistol that wasn't.
Whoa! What?
Yeah,
what I find funny about that is that there's people who are adamantly defending this movie, and it's like, why? It's an old piece of shit. Why are you adamantly defending this movie?
Hashtag
Who the fuck
old
cares
piece of
anymore?
shit. I'll defend it in the sense that I feel like everybody should watch it at least once to appreciate it's part of history. I feel like
Yeah, I'll go with that.
it's kind of like, and I hate Gone with the Wind. It's my mom's favorite movie. It was my grandmother's favorite, but I hate that movie. But I feel like people should watch it at least once.
That's another movie that Melissa watches that movie a lot. That's another movie I fall asleep to.
I'm with my beautiful blushing bride to be now, and her movie like that, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and that's actually a guilty pleasure of mine. So I'll take a musical. Fuck it.
Well, here you go. Here's my thought about like Gone with the Wind, Dracula, and all that I fell asleep to. I had an easier time staying awake to live tweet 50 Shades of Grey than I had to watch Dracula.
Oh, those videos. Oh, man, I'm still reeling from last week's video. God loves you, TJ. I think a lot of what it is, the more I think about it, especially older movies like this, I think a lot of it's the soundtracks. And I think directors back then, like, they just didn't really think ahead of time. If the pacing in that movie is going to be to this extent, have less music. Because I feel like no music scares me way more and gets me fenced in and just like in this atmosphere, right? As opposed to there's Dracula, but I'm listening to fucking Swan Lake while it's going on, right? There's subliminal shit, I feel like, in classical type music. There's something in the brain where it's just like, well, it's nap time, At least for me.
No, I agree with that. I think the movie would have been better if there was no soundtrack.
Yeah.
And just like saw the movie play out. Maybe I would have stayed awake for it. I don't know.
If you had, I'm sure you've seen Nosferatu at least once, right? Or I know you know what it is because you're not an idiot. Okay. If you had to boil it down, as far as what I was kind of saying, to segue off that, if it comes down to just like history, would you recommend people watch Nosferatu over Dracula with Bela Lugosi, or other way around?
I'd recommend Nosferatu over Dracula.
It speaks volumes when someone recommends a silent movie over, and the more I think about it, I kind of agree, because Nosferatu, that look has held up so well. It might be the best character of all time as far as longevity and remaining looking scary and creepy is Nosferatu.
Well, I mean, that you said it right. That movie was creepy, and I think what made it creepy, part of it was that it was silent, and there wasn't any, grand overtures. There wasn't any stupid dialogue and cheesy acting that they had back in the day. It was just a creepy fucking movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And that character is so iconic. I know you watched the series because I was telling you to watch that shit, What We Do in the Shadows, but I don't know if you've never seen the movie, What We Do in the Shadows.
I haven't watched any of it yet. I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, in What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, one of the characters, and it's a comedy, but he looks just like Nosferatu. It's great. Need to watch that stuff. It's good.
I'm trying to remember the actor's name now. It's like Max something. I can't remember it.
What was the movie with, God damn it, with Green Goblin? Who the fuck, why am I blanking on this? Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe. You ever see that movie based on the filming of this movie?
I did. Oh my God.
That's a great fucking movie, right? Nobody ever talks about it.
Holy shit. I completely forgot that movie existed until you just said it. I don't remember anything about it, but I remember that movie was fucking cool as shit.
Maybe we'll have to get to that down the line, because it's been a minute since I've seen that movie, but it's good. I love the ones that like started blurring the lines. Like one of my favorite Freddy movies is New Nightmare, because I love how that whole thing worked.
Where it's like Nancy or what's her real name? Helen Landcap, something like that, in the real world.
Yeah, where they're filming a Freddy movie.
We have gotten so far off the topic of Dracula.
And that speaks to how good and how many. Here's breaking news. How many coffins out of 5 do you give Dracula 1931?
Oh, we're doing a coffin, half a coffin.
Half coffin, just for history, I guess, right?
And it's not even buried in his home dirt that he can sleep. This movie can never sleep again. And
I'm gonna give the Lugosi version 2.5 out of 5 coffins because Lugosi rules for what it did. It started the entire monster movie craze at the time and the history. And like I said, the atmosphere and the set pieces were tremendous, especially for the time. But I'm gonna give the Spanish version 4 fucking coffins out of 5. Better actors, better shots. The actors felt, and as ridiculous of a statement as this is, because the American actor that played Renfield in the Lugosi one was really good. But the Spanish guy that played Renfield, if you can imagine, is even crazier and portrayed it even better. So, Spanish Dracula is the way to go. Viaca los Conquistadores and go to Spain and watch Dracula. I'm glad that we went to Spain, went to France. We didn't go to your underpants, and I'm thankful for that. But episode 1 of Horrors of Hibiki is in the book. And before I forget, God damn it, I want to thank real quick our buddy. Thank you, Optic Decay, for the goddamn beautiful logo of this show, the art. Love it. As always, killer work. Check him out, Twitter, at Optic Decay. But TJ, my man, thank you for joining me. That's it, episode 1.
hey, by the way, that art by Optic K is fucking kick-ass.
Expect nothing less. Just banger after banger. He's like a warehouse, like a conveyor belt full of bangers. The man doesn't stop. And we're not going to stop until next time when we come back right here on this brand new podcast right here on the channel. Thank you for joining me, TJ, man. So it's been far too fucking long since you and I have done a show together. MLW feels like 10 years ago, right?
Oh, it does. It feels like forever. And hopefully the next one is a movie that I can stay awake to and actually discuss with you rather than just bag on it. Wolfman.
Well, I was going to say the formula to this is going to work in your favor because our formula on this show, every other episode, next up is TJ's turn to pick.
Oh, we're going Human Centipede.
Are you serious? All right.
You know, why not? Fuck it. Let's do it.
Let's chase away our audience 2 episodes in. I don't give a fuck. Bring it on. Bring it. Let's do it. I promise you guys, though, I can't. The only movie, I'll say it right now on our first episode, TJ. The only movie that I refuse to ever review on this show, because I can't bring myself to ever watch it again, is Cannibal Holocaust. So don't ask me, guys. I'm not going to do it. And you guys shouldn't watch that movie either. Even if you're curious. It's not worth it. It's going to scar you a little bit. Don't watch it. It's not good.
I agree. I will never watch that movie.
It's a piece of shit, to be totally honest. But yeah. Until then, one more time on Twitter, at Huss Hogan. Hit that red button down below. Subscribe right here. Hibiki TMD on YouTube. Almost forgot the own goddamn name of my channel. Retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcast, everything in between. Think about it, TJ. Like a couple years ago, we were interviewing Brian Pillman Jr., Alex Hammerstone, Richard Holiday. Now we're talking about a piece of fucking cardboard on a lamp from 1931 at 2 o'clock in the morning. Horrors of Hibiki is in the books. Until then,